Yo, yo, what's going on, man?
Chilling, man. Staying busy, like you just said. I'm happy to finally link up with you. Listeners on my show know I've been trying to do it for a while, and you know, you're busy, which is good, and I'm busy as well. So happy to finally talk to you. And
oh, word up! Thanks for having me, man. All the listeners and you guys at the station, I appreciate the love.
No problem, man. It's our pleasure, really, too. So it's a good relationship. So let's start out with something most recent that I just found out that you're working on. There's a new documentary called Demos, and it's really about, well, I'll let you tell what it's about, but I wanted to bring it back a little bit to last October at A3C. You were on a panel called Road Rules, which was basically tips and guidance for aspiring artists and new artists about how to tour and good advice, best practices. And so now I see you narrating this documentary about Demos, and clearly people see you as a guy to go to. You know, they trust your experience, your knowledge, and everything. So tell us a little bit about the demo and how you find yourself in these situations.
Oh, man, well, the film, like you said, the film's called Demos, and it's about being an indie artist in hip-hop in 2012, 2013. You know, it's really about the indie wave, how being an indie can be successful and lucrative to somebody coming up in the game, if you're brand new or whatever it is. You know, obviously nowadays, indie is everything. People are looking at the blogs, people are looking at the internet and iTunes and how to be successful in that regard, and really seeing that they may not need a major label, or they may not need to conform what their music is or what they want their vision to be, you know, just for the sake of getting their music out. Nowadays, you have so many mediums and ways to put music out that you can do it on your own, but at the same time, just jumping in and doing it on your own doesn't guarantee success either. So what it really is, it's just showing you that you can be successful and you can be lucrative in the business as an indie, but how to do it. And the trials, the tribulations, the ups, the downs, the different things that you have to be ready and prepared for in order to make a way in this game as an indie. So that's really what the film is about. It's called Demos. It's a really, really, really great film. It's a documentary, so it's something real, inspiring and, very informative. You know, it lets you know everything that's going on and how to go about it and how to get from A to Z without missing any of the letters in between, you know?
Say that. Okay. So, talking with Skyzoo. It's Fire for the People, Radiate FM. Let me ask you another question based off of a few song titles. On your mixtape, The Great Debater, you had a couple tracks titled like Rap Like Me, Complicated Rhythm, Written in the Drums. And so piggybacking off of that idea, you know, from the Demos documentary and the Road Rules panel, things are complicated, right? What are you trying to explain? What do those song titles and those songs and the lyrics mean to people, that mean to you, that you're trying to express to people?
Well, the ones that you pointed out in particular, like Rap Like Me and things like that, those are honestly just spitting records. You know, Rap Like Me, Complicated Rhythm, those are records where I'm really just spitting and really just getting busy and showing what I do. You know, Great Debater was a mixtape, so people loved it. It was critically acclaimed. It was looked at as one of the best mixtapes of that year in 2011. But when I do mixtapes, it's different from albums, because with an album, I feel like the cohesion is there, and it's really supposed to be a lot of storytelling. There's a theme, and things are supposed to go a certain way to paint this picture. Whereas on mixtapes, there's always going to be cohesion as well, and there's always going to be, me telling stories, but there's going to be those records where I'm just rapping, and Rap Like Me, Complicated Rhythm, which was sort of like the intro to the tape. Those records were just spitting records. But even beyond that, though, there's always some type of meaning or where a title comes from. Like, I know you mentioned Written in the Drums. The way that came about, just title-wise, Swift D did that beat. Swift D and all the work he's done with Pac Div and Busta Rhymes and all that. Swift D did that beat. So when he sent me the beat folder to pick some stuff from, that beat was called, like, Drum Something. There was something with the word drum in it. And I was like, oh, man, okay. So, I'm looking through it. Producers name their beats. And the one that I picked was wound up becoming, the title was Drum Something or Something Drum, maybe Drum Roll or something like that. And when I'm listening to it, I'm looking at the computer screen and I see that title. And the first thing that came to mind was Written in the Drums. You know what I mean? I took the title that I was inspired by off of Swift D's title for the beat and then turned it into a concept about whatever's going to be is going to be. As far as me and my career, it's already written in the drum. It's already done. You know what I mean? It's already written in the music. Whatever I'm going to become or whatever my story is and wherever my success leads me, it's already done. There's nothing you and I can do to change that or alter that. I'm just riding the path that I feel like I was given, you know?
Dope. Okay. So once again, talking to Skyzoo, it's fire for the people. I'm going to follow that same kind of premise of the last question. You had Salvation, and on that track, you had on that album, you had a track called Beautiful Decay. But you also had like Great Debater, Theo versus JJ, and now your most recent project is A Dream Deferred. So tell us about your background, your experiences, and what in your life really contributes to the music you make that is reflected in titles like these. Because these aren't just, fun party rap titles. Like there's a lot of depth, I think, to these words that you use. So can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Absolutely. The inspiration and the influence within my music is my day-to-day life. It doesn't really change. You know what I mean? Whether I'm working on early stuff like the Salvation, back then when I was really just getting started, up till now with A Dream Deferred, I'm inspired by every day. So whatever I'm writing today is inspired by things that happened today, yesterday, or recently, or whatever it may be, or things that I'm looking forward to. So it's all, everything I talk about is real. I put out a freestyle series called Band Practice to promote a big show that I just had up here in New York. And the first song was a song called Phone Calls. And it was just freestyle. They were just quick joints I did. It could be one long verse or whatever. And there was a line in there where I talk about, my pops dealing with cancer at the moment. And people were hitting me on Twitter asking, was that real? And I said, yeah, it was real. How long, if you've been a fan of me, you've known me for however long, whatever I talk about is really going on. Whatever I talk about, I lived, or the people around me lived, or I'm still living, So I just use that as an example to say, song titles or concepts or whatever it is, it's always about what's really going on. So that's where my inspiration comes from, And as far as the titles, A Dream Deferred was piggybacking off of the Salvation. So if you're a fan of the Salvation and you know what the album is and you know the stories I was telling on that, A Dream Deferred is just picking up on those stories. If you look at records like the Shooter soundtrack and Metal Hearts and My Interpretation and Maintain and Necessary Evils, you look at those records. On this album, A Dream Deferred, you're like, okay, what happens next? So the continuation of those records are songs like The Razor Romello, Steel's Apartment, Range Rover Rhythm, How to Make It Through Hysteria. That's the continuation of those records and where the story continues. It's like, okay, now what? What happens after these emotions and these things have transpired and taken place? What happens now? And A Dream Deferred is chock full of all of those stories as far as what happens.